Why hello there, fellow Vulcanites. Rodamont here. Thank you for tuning in to Stationeers Brutal Vulcan. Episode 12. Drinking our first batch of Vulcan potato water. Alright, over here, how much water do we have? 13 liters! I have more water than I came with. Well, minus the bottles that I came with. But you start off with a 12-liter tank, and I have 13 liters of hot water. But, 13 liters of it. There is nothing left in the steam line. There's nothing left in the combustion line. Yeah, so it fully flushed. Cool. Well, let's make progress to be able to drink this stuff. So the water off of this will come this way. And what I want to do is I want to drop it about here. Yep, right there. Ooh, do I have exactly the correct amount of pipes? I do. Just by chance. Alright, so the water is available here. And I'm going to use the base as a thermal battery for this. And just cool the water with base air. It's inefficient, but it's cheap. Because I'm thirsty. So, I'm going to do a volume pump. And you'll understand why in a moment. Because as I run a batch through the condensation chamber, I don't want the super freaking crazy hot water in that tank to be added to the base's water. I want the base's water separate. So what I'm going to be doing is essentially two volume pumps. I'm going to have a volume pump to start the radiator process, and then a volume pump to put the water into safe storage. Maybe only one volume pump, but basically, yeah, I want to be able to isolate my water from the system. So I have a volume pump here to be able to pull the water out of this tank and put it into a different tank. A tank that, maybe not, I'm going to put it on the ceiling, actually. Because I'm thinking that this here will eventually be a door to living quarters. And I might need to rewire this as a net result eventually. Come on. Okay, fine. I'll make that pipe. Oh, that's almost 5,000 kPa. Pretty close. 4,000 and change. Alright, so we have a volume pump, which will be able to move the liquid from one section to another section. And then, I know this is insulated, and the reason this is insulated is that I'm going to change the way it's set up later on, so I'm going to have it insulated for now. With radiators. Regular non-insulated pipes don't radiate very quickly, so this is, it makes not too much of a difference. Come on now. Ugh. Oh, it did it. So I'll put it in here so that I can tap it from a living quarters, which will be on the other side. So there will be like some water pipes running through this. I don't care. And then we need a liquid pipe radiator. And I'll only do one. I might want more, but the water will cool down eventually to room temperature at 1. So what this is going to look like is something like this with a little radiator to cool it. And then one more pipe. Keep it very simple. Cheers! And Mr. Handman, thank you for the sub. Almost out of steel and silicon, which means if I want to make solar panels, I'm going to have to make more steel and probably silicon too. Okay, plug this in, which I'm going to need copper for. And I do hear the hunger caution. I'm gonna cook my first potato. I'll probably have to quickly dip into the thing to hydrate and eat. So this is my last cereal bar. And then I'm eating potatoes. Actually, let's keep the cereal bar there and eat the potatoes now. Because, like, cereal bar is stable. And the potatoes aren't. They rot. I don't know where to put this for now. It's right there. Okay, so now that we have a table, let's get a microwave. And a few cables. I know my hydration is wicked low. Let's just hydrate, and then I'll... because I don't want to take body damage. And then I'll make a potato. God, it's weird to have all this space now. Just won't leave the potato outside? Yeah. Although, I don't really want the potato mixing with volatile gas and pollutants. I mean... I'm not a... That sounds gross. So, while yes, easily I could make a potato outside, I don't want to. That doesn't sound like the kind of spice I want to add to my food. Alright. Microwave. Slap that down there. Wrench it to the table. Now, CO2 is not a good atmosphere for potatoes to be in. So getting a refrigerator is smart, but I need to add more power generation to the base before I, like, add a refrigerator, because my power was low. Power, I mean, it's hanging in there, but I'm obviously going to need to generate more power, and that's probably going to be my next project. Yeah, this is my first Vulcan potato. And I'll celebrate by taking off my clothing, or my suit. For the first time in a long time, too. Leaving 1% of the potato left. Mwah. Yep. Hi, little breathing hole. Stick the oxygen somewhere safe. Alright, let's wire up the water filler thingy so that I can stop relying on the, abusing my plants and taking their water. Got a cable here. This should do. Now, I'm going to quickly flush the 13.2 liters from this to this. Takes like literally a second. Done. So now all that's left in here is like 8 moles of steam, and then we've got, you know, 733 moles of liquid water. And the pressure is... The temperature is going to go down over time. Let's add some more radiators so I can drink it sooner. Yeah, my iron's over here, isn't it? This part of the base is pure CO2, yes. The farm is CO2 and ox mix, because it would never be possible to have pure CO2 in a farm. Oh, yeah, right. So, as you can see, the temperature of this water has gone down a degree or so. I just want to speed up the process. I'll put 3 out. Oh, I need my gold. And I'll be improving this system later on. Like, this is just a stopgap measure, so I don't have to keep drinking plant water. Alright. Temperature is lowering. Then, let's hook this up to a bottle filler. I'm gonna need a few more pipes. Because this thing's sticking through the door. I'll probably need to go outside for this. But eventually my bottle filler will be here. Right there. Yeah, the music was faint because it's a soft track. It's insulated, so it doesn't really matter that it's on the other side of the wall. Yeah, it's chilling. It's still too hot. I mean, it's like tea temp, but, you know, it'll cool down. Checking up on... Nice. 155. 47. Everything looks good. Alright, next project. Well, let's move the bottle filler. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take one more draw of water now, and because I don't think it's going to hit the correct temperature before I want to drink next, and then I'll move the bottle filler once it's filled up. So the room in here is basically 99% carbon dioxide. And I haven't temperature treated the CO2 yet, so I'm going to have to do this in small batches. But that's another thing I could do with the pipe radiators. As I'm just trying to keep it above, the closer to 100% or 100 kPa, the better, because the pressure efficiency of the air conditioner likes when the pressure in the room is about 100 kPa. It works more efficiently. So getting it closer to that would be best. But yeah, we've got a lot of plants in here making oxygen for me to breathe. And they're going to say they're moderately growing because I just temp shocked them hot. But yeah, it's fine. All right, you, my little bad boy, coming with me. I'll leave that wire in case I want to. Because I bet I'm going to have a table in here eventually for plant genetics. So having power available in here is fine. Although there's power here, but whatever. Keep growing, buds. I mean, spuds. Okay, water bottle filler. I kept 2 of the water bottles that I landed with. I definitely don't have the cables to power this filler on. Almost, though. And eventually I'm going to turn that water bottle filler around. Because as I've mentioned a few times now, the eventual plan is to have a 2x2 room in there on that platform that is oxygenated and safe for me to breathe, because this system here is not foolproof. If I hit the wrong buttons or open the door too soon, I lose my oxygen. And then I don't have a place to drink anymore or eat. So this system needs to be phased out. But my next most critical thing is to work on my power generation, because, I mean, that battery is not happy. I could also have a stopgap solid fuel, but I don't need solid fuel. I mean, there's so much sun here, I'm just going to use the sun. So once the bottle filler is set up, I'm going to start making steel for new solar panels. So let's add 3. Well, all right. I have 3 panels. I want 8 total. So let's do all 5. Screw it. I'll do them in smaller batches, though. So I'll do 2 as a stopgap measure. Because if I wait too long to make too many panels at once, I'm going to end up browning out the base. And this is my spare oxygen. I don't need a labeler. Okay, and I have 49 cables. That should be pretty good. So, solar. 15 steel, 5 gold. Do I even have that? I have 8 steel, so no, I don't. And then my water is at 75. So once it gets down to like 50, because this will flash an error. Oh no, it's filling? Alright. Alright. That's some hot water, but if the game don't care, I don't care. So, we're now not using plant water anymore. Awesome. Alright, how much oxygen do I have in the system? I've got 564 moles of oxygen. And this spare tank is pressurized to 5,000. Oh, yes. I got oxygen for days. Well, okay. Actually, yeah, days. There are multiple days of oxygen. Cool. Let's go put the frames down for solar panels and then start getting the steel for it. Will the water still cool down while on the bottle filter? No. But, like, it doesn't really matter, because my stomach deletes heat. It's actually more ideal to fill the water with as hot as it can be, because once I drink it, like I said, I effectively delete heat. So, the hotter the water, the better, in my opinion. Because then it has to be heat treated less. Okay, this thing's dead. Before I go mining, I'm gonna go swap the battery. There might not be enough time in the day for me to do a whole batch. We'll see. I'll try. We'll go. Actually, it's not near peak hours yet. So there could be time. Especially if I do a smaller than 200 batch, but I'm just going to do 200 batches. It's just easier to do 4 full stacks. Because even if I don't get the solar panels made, what I can do is I can lay out the data network and the power network for them. So the plan is to have 8 panels that feed to a transformer so I don't blow the lines. Because 8 solar panels will exceed the 5 kilowatt limit, but 7 panels won't hit the 5 kilowatt limit, so I'll just have a transformer to prevent the lines from being burnt. Done. And yeah, I'll definitely be able to get the steel today. I think what I'll do is I'll go a little overtime and finish these solar panels this stream. I don't have a notion of how much silicon is in the base, so I might want a little bit more, and I'll probably run out of copper for the cabling, but I don't know, I did make a big batch of cables. Okay, that will outgas. Let's go get a little copper. I don't think I need gold. I think I had a bunch. This is probably not the closest copper to the base, but whatever. Probably like 100 is going to be enough. Non-alloys I can always arc furnace whenever I want. So it's mostly the steel that matters. The silicon, copper, gold doesn't matter as much because I can make it whenever, as long as I have power in the base. 80 copper's fine. Waste tank is getting pretty close to caution there.
Waste tank caution.
There's the alert. So I might need to dip in the base and swap. Come on. Yeah, there we go. There's my steel. I think I could do the copper before I have to go inside. Because copper is, doesn't require as high temps. That's at like 327 versus 627. Or 3... I don't know. 3 something. Done. Alright. So we got the materials for new solar panels. Gold. Yep. Done. Out of curiosity, now that I have basically a full waste tank, when I swap this in, we'll see the temp difference. So we're going from 23... Ooh, it did get hot. Well, it normalized really, really quick to 25. So even a waste tank swappage, I don't think the farm goes up more than 2 degrees with a completely full waste tank. So yeah, it doesn't need to be solved. That doesn't matter. I mean, my room changes 2 degrees without me really noticing. I don't think the potatoes are going to notice. So I've got 119 grams of copper. Yeah, I have enough copper. It's no problem. $327 was correct for gold and copper? Okay. Yeah, it's 327 and 627 if I'm not mistaken. My food and water looks okay-ish for now. So the other thing I'm going to need for this is glass. Two glass sheets, which I have just enough silicon for both. With, like, literally nothing to spare, more or less. So we'll set up 2 solar panels. And I'll probably want more cabling, I'd imagine. So before I go back out there, I'll get a few more cables. Given that... let's fill food and water up. Done. Off. Open. Perfect. Alright, here's my 2 solar panels. I'll print up maybe 20 more cable coils. 70 cable coils should be able to wire the whole thing up. Ooh, look at them! Nice! And I've got lots of oxygen. I've got as much oxygen now as I did for the 13 liters of water I just made. And this water is now at 63 degrees. Oh, speaking of which, let's just hot swap. So I would say I am now in a positive feedback loop for water and oxygen. My potatoes generate enough for me to survive. Conservatively. Meaning I'm not in a death spiral anymore, which is freaking awesome. Now, I do have to solve the whole, like, I'm running out of power problem, but, you know, I'm doing that now, so shan't be an issue. Because worst case scenario, I can always just, like, slap a solid generator. I'm just trying to avoid that, because I don't feel like I need to do that. Alright, so let's wire up power first and then data. It's going to be a little easier with my jetpack. There it is. It's really not that hard to add solar, as you can see. Like, it took me, what, like 5 minutes to make the steel for solar panels. It's why, like, you know, if I'm low on power, just adding more solar to the thing is not much effort. So both panels are wired for power. Let's wire for data now. And then if I ever want more panels, I just need transformers. That all feed to heavy watt cables that feed to batteries. Because I think at some point I'm probably going to want, you know, more than one station battery, because one station battery just ain't very much. everything's wired for data and is solar tracking. Oh, I'm gonna have enough cables. Maybe just. Oh my god. There we go. Huh! One to spare! Woo! Alright, so now we're up to 5 panels from 3. Awesome. Hey, yeah, let's head back inside. Our power generation is gone up a whole bunch. There's other things that I could do, which is like turn off pressure, because that's 100 watts. I could turn off the oxygen. I mean, that's 10 watts. That doesn't really matter. My one logic panel's more than that. Oh, turn off this console. That's 50 watts. Turn off the battery charger. That's 5 watts. Yeah, okay. There's really not much left to do. There was one other thing that I wanted to do, which is to, before end of stream, which is going to be in a second here, is to start to... Because my base is 43 Celsius right now, and that's because I'm cooling this water with base air. And I'm going to do the same thing with the CO2. Because I am nearly out of propellant, and I'm going to want to use, like, not superheated CO2 as propellant going forward. Oh, which reminds me, I don't have any silicon. I don't need a lot of it, just a little bit. Please don't ash storm me at night. Anecdotally, I've only really been ash stormed at night on Vulcan. I think it can happen during the day, but I think it's more common at night. I could be making that up, but that's my, like, anecdotal experience. So I'm only gonna need, like, 30 silicon. I know this jetpack is dangerously low. Worst case scenario, I could always use my waste tank, swap it in. I would lose oxygen, but, you know, if I'm in a pinch. Or just mine my way out of a crevasse. As long as I'm not going into lava. Hang in there, batteries. Ooh, if I arc furnace this... Well, whatever, I'm gonna do it anyway. Sorry, station battery. Suffer. Ha 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 ha. That's about the right temperature. That's even cooler. Once this gets down to like 3 Celsius, we know we're ready for another water batch. Because that's the low temperature that the coolant is set at. And for this little project, that's probably going to be enough silicon, and I'll just get more later. Do you think I'd make a great tyrant in primitive society? No comment. I mean, to some degree or another, if you've seen the anime Dr. Stone, I am kind of Dr. Stone in this situation, a little bit. Like, bringing science to a scienceless planet, I guess. So current priority right now is to... oops, maybe I shouldn't be typing while I'm playing. Set up propellant. Fill. There. This is the very last project of the day. So, this is going to screw up the basis temp. Again, I had mentioned I eventually intend to have a, you know, a heat exchanger. And this is like super high pressure CO2, so it's going to take a lot to cool that down. So the base is going to get hot. It's going to get like unreasonably hot before it gets cool. I don't care. It's fine. Doesn't matter to me. So what I want is a pressure regulator. I'm going to need a spare canister because I don't have one. Which is funny because I threw a whole bunch out. And we're going to do it kind of like this. Same sort of, exactly same sort of concept. Where we have this set to 5,000 and then a tank fill. Actually, I have some insulated pipes. Only 3. Unlike the other system, I'm not going to have a spare tank because like it's CO2. I don't, whatever. It doesn't matter that much. So we'll have it fork off of this. And then we plug that in, put the utility, put a spare canister, and then I'll be able to fill up CO2. Now, my initial CO2 is going to be hot. The reason I'm cooling it down is it's the same CO2 that I flush into my farm. That's why I want it cooler. So that the farm is not temp shocked every time I put more fresh CO2 in. But this was such an easy, quick, project. I figured I could do this now. Color coding the canisters would also be wise if I got a tool maker for a spray can. Same with like my plumbing and everything. So this is a spare can. So this thing is I'm just labeling it in case I forget. So I can see, like, waste. Well, I guess it's not really labeled, but whatever. So propellant tank fill. Put the canister in there. I'm going to need the copper from here for cables. Nearest power. Maybe right here. Now with the extra solar panels, I should be pulling 680 times 5 watts, which will fill the station battery up a lot better than yesterday. And I'll do a network analyzer to figure out what my power usage is versus power generation is as well. So I said just one more turn, but I lied. Because I'm sort of curious if I'm going to need more solar panels as I pick up, you know, next week, potentially. So, do another 5,000. Turn it on. This is going to pull... And of course, this is really hot CO2. 133, so it's like not great. And yes, the base is now like way not temperate as a result of this. But I knew that, and it doesn't matter to me. So now this is hot CO2 that I can use as propellant. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to put my nitrogen tank away. Because nitrogen is a kind of a rare gas on this planet. Like, you can get it from capturing silicon outgas, but like that's about the only source of propellant or of nitrogen you're gonna manage unless you buy it or whatever. So now I have a full tank of propellant, and I'm gonna fill up this other tank of propellant. At some point I could always add logic to be like, if not 5,000, turn on something like that. Because these pressure regulators are 100 watts a piece, so they're not cheap to keep on all the time, which is why I'm turning them off manually. But there we go. Now we have our propellant. One of the other advantages of this is because I've lowered the amount of CO2 in the system, it's going to cost the base less. You know, it will be easier to cool the remaining CO2 as it's less volume. All right, so the very, very, very last thing to know if I need more solar panels is to quickly analyze power usage, which is going to be easiest to do outside by the battery. So I am generating 3.2 kilowatts. I am using 1.3 kilowatts. I think adding more solar is not a bad call, because it's I did it so fast. But we should not be in a power negative situation. I'm only really using about 900 kilowatts right now in the base, and I'm generating 3 times that and change. And so I think we're fine. I think, you know, the power situation has stabilized for the base. I was redlining the battery for a day or two, but we're back into kind of a normal situation now. And then the temperature of the base will also become more normal once the CO2 tank has hit room temp. And same with the water. Because at this point, the water is actually warming up, not the inverse. But, you know, whatever. So the very last thing, very, very, very last thing is to just make sure the plants are okay. Because nothing matters at that point with the plants. And the plants are happy. They're 21. This room is isolated from the rest of the base, so that these plants don't get screwed up when the base heats up. But it does look like there's more seeds here. So writing a note for my future self: eat, drink, harvest spuds, and add power. And that, friends, is where I'm going to leave off for today, having set up atmospherics to filter out volatiles, combining that with oxygen in order to make, fuel, combusting the fuel into water, condensing the water back into steam, from steam into liquid water, and then drinking it, and then expanding the base considerably, setting up the logic for coolant flush and intake, and adding solar power. And I think at the end of all that, we are in a positive feedback loop for oxygen and water. So I'm generating more oxygen than I am consuming at this point. And that, friends, is where I'm going to leave off. Thank you for tuning in to Stationeer's Brutal Vulcan, which originally streamed live on Twitch. If you have any questions for me, let me know in the comments below, but I'm not looking for feedback or backseating. If you'd like to catch a live stream of mine, Rodamont.com has my stream schedule and countdown timers to upcoming streams. If you'd like to join my online gaming community on Discord, Rodamont.com has a link to it, as does the description of this video. Thank you so very much for watching. Special thank you to my Twitch subscribers, Patreon patrons, and viewers like you that support the channel and made it all the way to the credits. Thank you so very much. I hope to catch you next episode or an upcoming stream. Catch you next time.